Literally, the only thing that holds anybody back is their self-belief and just them. There's nobody else to blame for why you didn't accomplish anything. And this has helped me a lot too, even having this mindset. Nobody is going to save you. So it's up to you to save yourself. No government, no politician, no celebrity. Hey guys, I'm back with another episode of Mental Wealth. This podcast is used to express thoughts, experiences, and lessons. I aim to be as transparent as possible. If you enjoy an episode, please don't forget to like, comment, and tell a friend. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to Mental Wealth. In today's episode, I plan to talk about lessons I learned in 2024. I think it's very important to reflect on the year before because your past usually tells you where where you will go in the future. And I think a lot of times society is so fast paced that we rarely have time to sit back and reflect. So I definitely think this is a great way for me to look back on my past year and see where I can go in the future. The best lesson I learned last year was believing in myself. If you don't learn anything in this world, the best thing you can do is believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, you'll never accomplish anything. The crazy thing about self-belief is that you see it in your mind happening first, and then it happens in the real world. I can just think about all the things I accomplished in, 2024. I graduated with my master's degree, which I would have never even thought I could do something like that. I graduated, I had a 2.8 in my undergrad just because I was just BSing around, and it wasn't like I wasn't capable of doing it. I've always been very intelligent. I was literally just BSing around. So to finish this year with a 3.7 GPA with me actually trying in school in the master's program is insane. I'm the only person I know in my family who's ever accomplished this feat. So it speaks volumes. And the crazy thing about it is there's nobody around me that could have helped me accomplish this but me. It's not like I can go to anybody and get help with any homework or anything to study, or I wrote a 35-page paper on schizophrenia. There's nobody that I know in my immediate circle that could have helped me with that. So just thinking about, hell, even starting a podcast. I mean, my podcast is probably a year old, but just the consistency to keep going, even though I barely have people who watch. And I'm thankful for everybody who watches, just because this is a long-term goal of mine. This is something I always wanted to do. So I can care less if 50 million people watch it or if 30 people watch an episode. I really can care less because this makes me feel better. A lot of times we don't realize this, but the only thing holding you back is you. I mean, when you sit down and ask somebody about why they didn't do this or why they didn't start that business that they've been talking about starting for years and years, and 10 years ago by, and somebody else started a business and then they just never acted on their initial urge to start a business. Literally, the only thing that holds anybody back is their self-belief and just them. There's nobody else to blame for why you didn't accomplish anything. And this has helped me a lot too, even having this mindset. Nobody is going to save you. So it's up to you to save yourself. No government, no politician, no celebrity, no family member. Nobody is going to save you. You have to save yourself. And anytime you're put in a position where you're expecting somebody else to save you, you're already going to fail. And I think a lot of people don't understand that confidence is a skill that can be developed. The best way to develop confidence is doing small things, is working on something 1%. This is also something I learned. It's just getting 1% better every day. And eventually you look up in, 50 days? And if you got 100% better each day, then 50 days later, you should be at least 50%. I think a lot of times we think of the long term, we think of the end goal, so it stops you from even starting. We get paralyzed with ideas, and a lot of people are paralyzed with ideas. I think one of the best things that you can do for your self-belief is affirmations. I know every day I listen to affirmations. I listen to an affirmation video on YouTube, or hell, I even write my affirmations. I have a thing right behind me with my goals and stuff that I wrote down for this year, for 2025. And almost every goal that I had 2024, I accomplished it. I didn't accomplish everything, but I set my goals so high that even if I fail, what does it say? You reach for the stars, and even if you fall, you land on the moon. And that's kind of where I try to do with my goals. I think another thing that's very important is visualizing your success and visualizing whatever you want to accomplish. I can just talk about briefly even going into 2025. I've been studying since 2024 to pass my licensing exam. I take the test and I don't pass by 2. So I'm like, wow. So for the first couple of hours or whatever, I beat myself up over it, but I eventually just got over it because I'm like, I was right there. I obviously didn't put enough work in, so it's back to the drawing board. I need to see how I study. I need to redo whatever works, keep it going, but whatever didn't work, throw it out. And I think the biggest thing that people can do is get out of their comfort zone. You die in the comfort zone and you don't even realize it. It's like a slow death that you don't realize. The more comfortable you are, the less you will accomplish. Lesson 2, one of the biggest lessons I learned this year was resilience. So I can even think back on my past 2024. For the most part, my relationships with my family is up and down. I really don't bother on that. But even when I think about those situations, the only thing it can do is hold me back. And in life, you'll go through a lot. Times will be up and down, up and down. And I think you really want to stay somewhere in the middle. You don't want to really get too high on things and get too low on things. And I think, if I look at myself in like the past, usually when I got really high on things, that's when I was really exposed to a big crash. And when I got really too low on things, then when I would succeed, I wouldn't realize success is happening. So I think the best thing we can do is stay somewhere in the middle and understand that setbacks will happen. Hell, I studied for a month and a half and didn't pass my exam. That's a setback that happened. But I have not let that stop me. I was studying 2 hours a day. Now I've been studying 4 hours a day. I can't let anything stop me. And the more I've learned is the better I've gotten with this is the more I expect failure. I've honestly never learned anything from succeeding. Usually, I would say that's kind of my problem too. But I've always been really good at the majority of the things I try, and especially the first time. So I've never really. So that's why I kind of would beat myself up when I didn't succeed at things, because I'm like, damn, I'm good at everything else, but a lot of that is really just God-given ability, and a lot of things you will have to work on in this world, and the things I needed to work on is the things I needed most. And then I didn't realize that until later on. So I think that helps a lot of people. Also, I feel like my setbacks have made me mentally tough, mentally strong. At this point in my life, I feel like there's nothing that can stop me but me. I won't let anything get in my way. The only thing things that get in my way, I get them out of my life. If that makes sense. What is it? A slingshot. Use a slingshot. You pull it back just to go forward. And I kind of use setbacks, and I kind of remind myself of slingshots. I think a great strategy that people can use for cultivating resilience is reframing failure. I think a lot of times we look at loss, we call it an L. And once you change your L's from losses to lessons, it drastically changes your mindset. Even with me studying for this test and everything, and the questions I get wrong, I learned way more from the questions I got wrong than the questions that I got right. Or even when I just deal with relationships, and I can see where I learned, or I messed up, so I learned from it, but everything I was doing right, or something that I was or things that weren't brought to my attention, I didn't really learn, so I just continued doing whatever habit or behavior it is. So definitely criticism helps. Also, another strategy that tremendously helped me is just practicing gratitude. I think a lot of times when you're grateful for the small things, it makes you able to be grateful for the big things. Just to even walk around, to even walk is a blessing. To even have eyesight is a blessing. To see, hear, taste, even have the 5 senses is a blessing. To have blood beating in your heart and to be alive is a blessing, because everybody doesn't have this. And then to even be in good health is a blessing. I think a lot of times we get caught up on a lot of things that don't matter, so it doesn't make you more receptive to things that you should be. And what also really helped me with practicing my gratitude too is that I took a positive psychology class at my time when I was at Coastal Carolina for my undergrad. In this positive psychology class, I think I would have to talk to 5 new people a week, and just finding 5 different things that I was grateful for in the week and stuff. And so this was a summer course, so it probably would have been like 3 weeks at the most for this course. But this course drastically shifted. Even now, sometimes I go back and look at my notes and the assignments and stuff I did from the course, because It helps me ground myself and to be thankful for anything I have. I think another big lesson is to be, well, another big part of this is to be adaptable. I think anytime you're fixed in a set way, you're easy to tip over. And the best thing you can do is be like water. What does Bruce Lee say? Be like water. So I think being more like water and less like a rock helps you keep flowing and keep going, more so than just being a rock and stagnant. The third lesson that really helped me in this year was the power of support networks. The power of even having support. So I would say one of my biggest support systems is, of course, my fiance. She supports me in anything I do. And even this podcast, she has completely wholeheartedly supported me. Even when she's mad at me, she supports me. And I think that's a big thing. I think a lot of people's support is conditional. And I've learned this over, it's taken me a while to learn this, but I've definitely learned this. So it has definitely helped me readjust my support network. A lot of times when I have good things happen, I won't tell certain people. If I have bad things happen, I won't tell certain people. Because I'm like, you're not really supporting me. You just want to see if I can do it. And then if I can do it, you're going to congratulate me. But if I can't, you're going to talk shit. So it doesn't really make me value other people's support. But I think developing the right support system and having the right people around you and even having the right conversations will help move you forward. I hate being around people and they talk about things we did in high school and they talk about completely irrelevant things because, hell, I can't even remember a lot of things I did in the past. I mean, I'm not proud of the person I used to be. I'm more proud of the person I'm trying to become now. But I did a lot of things in the past and stuff that I'm definitely not proud of. So to have people who around you who constantly talk about old things and how they wish things should be, and people still sit around and talk about how good summer 2016 was and all kinds of stuff. I think you might need to clean up your circle. And I think the first thing somebody can do in a situation like this is look at what they are calling their support. I think a lot of times you want people to support you that can't even support themselves, and they just generally don't want to support you. And I think a lot of times this is very hard for us to realize this. This is very hard for us to realize it. It was hard for me to realize this. But I think what definitely helped me is just having the right mentors around me. I have my clinical supervisor. She supports me. I've interviewed her on past episodes. I have my uncle. He supports me. I want to be just like him. He's like 80 something though, so I want to be exactly like him, but I think he's a great, anytime I have questions or anything, I can just go straight to him. And even my family, for the most part, I wouldn't say everybody supports me, but for the most part, I feel like the right people support me when I need it. And what also helped me too was being comfortable with what support I have, because if you're not supporting me right now, or if you don't support, or you haven't supported me in the past, or if I feel like your support is conditional, then I won't say I won't accept your support, but your support doesn't mean as much to me. And I think that's what also helped me get to where I am now, because a lot of people's support doesn't really mean that much to me. And I think just like what I was saying about getting too high on things and getting too low on things, I think a lot of people will disappoint you in life, and it's up to you to either keep allowing the disappointment or moving forward. Lesson 4, one of the biggest rules I learned, well, the biggest things I learned this year was the 10,000 hours. So I remember, I think I was in middle school, we watched a documentary, and it was about, I think a lot of people probably seen it, but it was about 10,000 hours, and they were saying it takes 10,000 hours to master a skill or master anything you really want to accomplish. So I think in a documentary they had a student and he was studying for like 10,000 hours. And I can't tell you off the top of my head how long 10,000 hours takes, but anything that you want to be good in, you have to work on it. You have to continuously work on it. I mean, there's nobody that has achieved greatness that didn't work on it every day. I mean, it makes me even think more so about Kobe Bryant and how he said he would practice one move every day over and over and over again until he perfected it. Then he would move to the next thing. And I think a lot of times we let society and we let other things kind of distract us from being able to put in 10,000 hours to master anything. Even me right now, I've read my textbook for my exam 3 times. I'm trying to read it 4 to 5 times before I even take the test again. And I've been studying 4 hours a day. That's still not completely 10,000 hours, but the closer I get to 10,000 hours, the more I learn. I'll know everything like the back of my hand. And just like I was saying earlier, nothing good will come from you not having to work for something. Everything I've gotten easy, I wasn't able to value it as much. But even when I think back to me with playing sports and stuff growing up, I would literally work out every day. Every day, I would watch the things I eat. I haven't eaten McDonald's in like 8 years now, so it's just like I was just really just being determined to work on something every day. I feel like that is definitely what has gotten me so far in sports, because I was never the most talented. I was never had the best instincts. I've been the fastest, but at different places you go, you're not the fastest and stuff like that. So I would think what always has helped me get farther than other people who have more talent than me or whatever is just my ability to keep working. I think a lot of times talent makes you complacent and you don't really see as hard as you need to work. But what's definitely helped me is having so many lessons in the past with not succeeding. It made me understand what I needed to do to succeed. And I've always been a competitor, so I've always seen it as, especially this probably go back to sports, but the more I'm not working, the more I feel like somebody's working harder than me, or I feel like I'm not lifting weights right now, so somebody else probably lifting weights. And so it's kind of having that competition, and not really competition with other people, but competition with yourself. You know you're not doing what you need to do to be successful on whatever you did. So it's kind of like you're just hoping for it instead of putting your destiny in your own hands. I think a lot of times we don't do that. I think the biggest parts of 10,000 hours is being dedicated, having patience. It's mainly being dedicated and having patience. With dedication and patience, it allows you to be able to accomplish anything. There's nothing great in the world that you want that you don't have to be dedicated to get. Even me, I think about how I just got engaged and stuff like that. We've been working on this relationship for 6 years. Literally 6 years. That's almost, half a decade. So it's just, there was a whole lot of dedication and patience, and having to be patient with somebody else and their feelings, and having to care about trying to understand how somebody else feels, and not just being stuck in my ways and be willing to grow. It's definitely helped me. And I think with having dedication and patience, it helps for the long-term incremental growth. My lesson 5 kind of builds more on the 10,000 hours, but it's constantly working on yourself. If you're not working on yourself, you're not going to accomplish what you want to accomplish on. I think in my instance, I've been literally reading book after all those books behind me and stuff. I've been reading. I've been constantly working on myself. Even when I get off of this, I'm going to study for 3 to 4 hours before I can watch a football game. I haven't even eaten yet. I just got out of church. But constantly working on yourself. And I would definitely help me was me reading the Bible. I would say it definitely helped me, because even just seeing all the things Jesus went through, and Jesus was the only person to do everything perfect, and he still was hated. So it's just like, if he was hated and he did everything you're supposed to do, then who am I to think I won't be hated? And so this definitely helps me. But even just seeing all the work he did, it helps me ground myself also with what I need to do. And just looking at the story of Moses, and he did all of that stuff, and he did everything to get the Israelites to safety, and then he ended up not being able to see the promised land. It's just like, you have to work on yourself. You have to always work on yourself. I think the best way for somebody to work on themselves is to see what needs work. I think a lot of times we think that we don't need to improve, or we're just fine with where we at. But are you? A lot of people make resolutions about losing weight and stuff, but they've been eating terrible, and we're still in the first month of the year. It's almost done, but you still have time to accomplish your goals and whatever resolutions you set. But the only person who's holding you back is you. I think what definitely helped me with working on myself was reading. Just like I said, I read the Bible, I read books on psychotropic medicines, books on different personality disorders or whatever disorders. I read books on self-improvement, motivation, just reading and expanding your mind. I think since we live in a microwave society, people feel like they can watch a TikTok video, a 30-second video, and feel like they've already read the whole book. So this definitely holds you back. Also, journaling. Journaling has helped me. My journal is somewhere around here, but from me journaling, it helped me even pay down my debt that I had this past year. And when I would journal, I would put the date that I wrote this specific thing on, so then it would help me when I look at where I started. Like if I wrote something in September and then I see where it looks like by December or stuff like that. That has definitely helped me see my progress, because a lot of times if you expect people to tell you congrats and I see you working and stuff, you'll never accomplish anything, because I rarely get told that. Is and I think it's a good thing because I've always, just like I said, I've always been really good at stuff. So people don't really tell me, I would say congrats or I see you working and stuff like that. People just expect excellence from me. And so this is also a pressure, but the way I overcome this is not expecting anything from anyone. So by me not expecting anything from anyone, it helps me keep moving forward. Also, just like I said earlier, feedback. I like to be told, look, this is was definitely helped me because of my support network. I can get honest feedback from people, so I don't have people around me who just tell me things I want to hear and tell me things that everything is going to be all right, because not everything is going to be all right. Sometimes you have really hard decisions to make. So having the right people around you that give you the right feedback will make you be the most successful you can be. And a lot of times people don't see this, but personal growth is a lifelong journey. It's not just like you wake up tomorrow and you're just perfect in your life and you're everything is together. It's not. It's definitely not. It's a process, and I think a lot of times we forget it's a process because you can get online and it's, of course, comparison is the thief of joy. You get online and you see so many other people succeeding with different things. It makes you feel a certain kind of way because you're like, damn, we're the same age. Why haven't I been able to accomplish blah, blah, blah yet and stuff? And so that definitely is able to steal your joy from you. Lesson 6 that I learned, asking for help. A lot of times, if you don't ask, you will never receive. This has definitely helped me the most because I've come across things that this past year that I didn't know anything about, and even going into this year, I'm learning more things that I don't know anything about. I've been filling out job applications and stuff and doing job interviews. I have not had a job since I was like 16 years old, 16 to 17 years old. So for me to be 25 now, I'm like, what is a job? So just me learning this whole process has been very different for me, but it's not something I cannot accomplish. I can accomplish anything I set my mind to. But me just asking for tips on interviews and everything, anything I'm unfamiliar with, I ask people first. I ask people, and then I ask people that I appreciate their information and I feel like I can trust what they're telling me. I ask them, and then I go look up majority of stuff myself because you can't believe anything somebody tells you, for real. But I think the first step is being able to ask for help. And me just thinking about the different things I struggled with this year. I started seeing a therapist, and I'm a therapist. So I'm like, I've always learned this too. My uncle always says that he's like, a good therapist has a therapist. So this is definitely, from me even going to see a therapist, it helped put a lot of different things in perspective for me. Because I was always one of those people, I would just break stuff and ask questions later. I would slap people, whatever I had to do. I rarely let anybody talk to me any kind of way. And I still won't do it now, I'm refrained, I believe in God and stuff. I go to church and stuff every Sunday. But it's rarely that I let people talk to me crazy. So me going to a therapist and dealing with various family issues and stuff I had, it helped put a lot of different things in perspective for me. And then, like I say all the time, but the problems that you struggle with as an adult are the same problems that you struggle with as a kid. So this definitely helped unpack a lot of things for me so I could move forward and help me understand that a lot of things aren't meant for understanding. And a lot of people, just like especially relationships, people are going to do whatever they want to do. So there's nothing you can do to change that. You can just change your relationship with them and how you come to them, how you talk to them. You just change the whole relationship. And sometimes things are so bad, you just get rid of the relationship. You don't need any relationship that's not helping you be a better person. And I think a lot of times relationships around us are not helping us. So we hold on to a lot of empty baggage. And also what I learned is everybody can't come. Everybody, especially on the road to greatness, everybody doesn't want to be great. So that's why it's so lonely at the top. That's why you even when you look at the billionaires and stuff like that, people complain about Jeff Bezos and stuff and Mark Zuckerberg, but when you look at the various things that these men had to do to get to where they want, you'll be amazed. I think I'm so amazed because I listen to various podcasts about Amazon. I've read books about Amazon and read books about Facebook and how they both got started. And just seeing all the things that Jeff Bezos went through, like growing up and how he had to try to get funding from different resources just to launch an idea that he knew only had, 10% chance of working. And now look at what Amazon is now. And he started the business knowing it was only a 10% chance of that working. And Amazon started as a bookstore, and now you can buy anything from there. And it comes in same day delivery. They even have a pharmacy and stuff now. So it's crazy to see where ideas can get you when you pour into them. And people see asking for help as a weakness and not a strength. I think the strongest person is the person who can ask when they're unsure about things, and not the person who acts like they know everything. Lesson 7, the power of focus. Focus, focus, focus. I'm actually thinking about writing a book about focus, because this is definitely what has helped me block out all the noise going on around me, and just seeing how many distractions we have around us, and we're constantly being distracted and stimulated and stuff. So even with your phone, you get likes on Instagram, and it increases the dopamine levels in your brain. By being able to block out unnecessary stuff helps you make the necessary happen. And I think we let things distract us. I've gotten better with it. Now I even block out time when I'm trying to study and stuff. So I'll block out an hour here. As soon as I get off of this, I'm probably going to block out 2 hours immediately just so I can watch videos on various mental health disorders, client confidentiality, all various different things that I need to continue working on. But as soon as I get off of here, I'm going to watch 2 hours worth of videos, take a break, and then read for another 2 hours before I go to bed tonight. I think by not being able to focus, you're making yourself your own biggest distraction. And I think a lot of times we prioritize things that don't matter at all, but we make them matter. And then by not being able to prioritize, it makes you overwhelmed. And I think that's why people feel so overwhelmed with various issues that they go through, because they're not able to prioritize what is the most important matter that affects me the most right now. I think a lot of times we focus on things that we can't control. And so by focusing on things that we can't control, of course you will be overwhelmed because you can't control it. And this is what helped me control the controllables. This is also like, I hate to go back to playing sports, but just thinking about when you're playing in a game and the refs keep making bad calls. Well, I can't control what the refs doing. I can only control the way I prepared for this, the way I prepared my body for this, and where I'm lined up each and every play. If I'm in great position, if I did all the work I needed to do physically, and I did all the work I needed to do mentally, there's no way you cannot succeed. But I think a lot of times we focus on things that we cannot control. So by focusing on things you can't control, you never realize what you can control. I think ways to improve focus, just like I said, time blocking out time, because you can't focus for 30 hours straight and stuff. That's impossible. I can't even do that. I can probably get at least a good 2 hours worth of focus in before my mind starts doing other places. So I've learned that about myself. Good thing to do: time blocking, practicing mindfulness, and goal setting. You see those goals behind me? I mean, a lot of those goals, I hope, and I'm going to do everything I can to accomplish everything on that list, but a lot of those goals I might not be able to make happen. But the closer I can get to it, the better I will feel about myself. My bed is on the other side. I wake up every morning, look to my left, and look straight at my goals every day. I gotta know, it helps keep me grounded. It helps me stay on the mission too. I think a lot of times people might write their goals in their notes app, and then they don't look at it. A lot of times people write all these notes and all these different Bible scriptures and whatever, and they don't look at it. I think the best thing that has always helped me is having a whiteboard. I might start selling whiteboards. That's how good they are. But if you didn't learn anything from this episode today, I want you to focus on believing in yourself, having resilience, building a support network, practicing 10,000 hours, constantly working on yourself, asking for help, and learning how to focus. If you enjoyed today's content, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back with you for another one. Peace.